Hey folks, we're just getting started and waiting for a couple more people to join. I will be back in a moment and we'll kick things off. Stay tuned for some awesome airdrops, both from Koii Cryptofish, which is a new project here, and from Metablocks, which is building a map of the world in a decentralized way. We'll be right back. All right, it looks like we've got a handful of people streaming in still, but I think we'll kind of kick off some very brief announcements about Koii, and then we'll let you hear from a couple of people that are building on the network. The first thing I'd like to just quickly catch everybody up on is sort of some tech updates and progress from the product side. So if you're not familiar, Koii has about a 5-layer stack now. We're working on adding more layers to make it even easier for people to build with. But we've, at this point, almost got the new and improved version of Koii ready to launch, and it'll be coming out next month, along with a whole bunch of updates to attention tracking, both to increase the scale of the attention tracking, to reduce the amount of spam that's coming through, and to also ensure that we can track content across different locations on the internet. So you will soon be able to set up Koii attention tracking on not only your NFTs on Arweave, but also your NFTs anywhere else, and even your website, which is going to be very exciting. Today, we have a couple people from the Koii community that'll tell you a little bit about their projects, and then we'll get into a bit of a discussion around what's important in the space. There's a quick reminder that if you are in this this chat today, you will also be eligible for an airdrop from Metablocks as well as an airdrop from Koii. I think the Metablocks folks will tell you a little bit about that, but for the Koii airdrop, you just have to be registered as an ambassador or to say something to our Twitter handle. You can also go in the Discord and say something there, and we'll grab you that way. And if you haven't joined our Discord yet, that's a great place to get some other updates as things move along. We're going to start trying to have one of these Twitter Spaces about once a week, and we'll keep them fairly quick and to the point, but just kind of want to give everybody some nice regular updates as we approach some mainnet launches and all kinds of other fun stuff this summer. So without further ado, I suppose we can let a couple of people talk a little bit about their projects. We only have a few people in at the moment, so I think we can probably have these be a little bit longer form, but the kind of general context would be, just say a little bit about what you're building, how it will impact the world, and why decentralization is actually an important aspect of this kind of technology, or why decentralization matters in this context. Because I think a lot of people come into this space and they see, all this decentralized stuff, Web3, blockchain, NFTs, and it can all be a little crazy. And sometimes it's, often designed to seem a little confusing because some projects are not that upfront. But we want to make sure that we're really clearly articulating why decentralization is important to these things, as well as, why we're so excited about the tech we're building. So Dan Zeno, if you'd like to kick things off, you can tell us a little bit about TreeSpace.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the introduction, Al. I'm Dan Zeno. I'm the founder at TreeSpace. And kind of how, I guess, quick background on how TreeSpace got started. I was working on a decentralized social network, and that's when I started to work with Al. I was previously a COO at a company called DadChat, and I was trying to figure out how to decentralize that. And then I just kind of proceeded to decide I need to kind of start my own social network. But one of the big problems I had with previous social network I tried to scale was identity verification. I found that although we were able to scale up pretty quickly, the application became overrun with bots and scammers pretty quickly. And sometimes I think in the DeFi and decentralized space, we think decentralization is always going to be a good thing. But I find with a social network, it could actually compound some of the problems that we have on existing Web2 social networks, like scammers. If you can't verify that the users on your platform are actually humans, and with the as sophisticated as our AI and bots are getting nowadays, you can imagine that over network that social network being overrun pretty quickly in a decentralized space. And so we kind of took a vector from working on a decentralized social network, and now we're working on decentralized identity management, which is I think is very important for us to get down to verify that there's actually humans that are using our dApps. And so that's what I'm working on right now, and building with Koii is working on a decentralized identity management and access. platform. So that's a basic introduction.
Great, thanks, Dan. I think the one thing that you're working on that's really exciting is the idea of biometric authentication. Can you talk a little bit about that and why it's related to preventing bots on these platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. Nature gave us a best password, and that's our biometrics. And kind of biometric tech is advancing pretty quickly. And what's going to make us unique is we're working on ways to store biometrics safely in a distributed, decentralized way on the blockchain. And the way we could do that is through zero knowledge proofs. And so through zero knowledge proofs, you could shard your biometrics and distribute them across nodes. And that way you don't have honeypots of biometric identifiers. And then you could tie that to an additional factor like your phone to have instant multi-factor verification. And so with that, with your biometrics and additional factors, something you are is your biometrics, something you know is like a password, and something you own is your phone. And so you can tie in different factors, and if you shard those factors, then you can protect that information, and that provides the foundations for being able to safely store identity on the blockchain. And so we're trying to crack some of those codes. The technology exists. We just have to put it all together and make it more user friendly. And so we're excited to kind of be undertaking this project of identity verification, doing identity verification safely on the blockchain.
Great, thank you for updating on that. I love the tagline about the 3 types of identification. Jun, are you ready to give us a quick overview of MetaBlock and the airdrop that you're doing today?
I'm ready. I am very ready. Thank you, Al.
Right,
thank you, Al. Oh yeah, thank you, Al. Thank you, Koii, for hosting us. It's a pleasure to be here and talking to everyone from the Koii network. Also, I see many of our neighbors from our own Discord and our own community here, so thank you for joining as well. I want to start off really quickly. So Al did mention that we're going to be doing an airdrop. So that means that anybody that's here today can go to our Discord, and all you have to say is that I joined the Twitter space today with Koii, and you'll be automatically entered to win an airdrop from us from one of our NFTs, valued between at minimum $100 to $200 in when we do launch later next month, and there will be 10 random winners. So I think you have a really good chance, considering the number of people here, you have a really good chance of being one of those winners. So I just wanted to start off with that as a benefit to everyone who's coming here and joining. So really quickly, I want to give you guys an overview of what is MetaBlocks. And I'll start off with the mission because that's really important. Our mission is to preserve humanity's most important memories. Now, I want you to think of that as I talk to you about what the product is. And the idea came from because I was thinking about my family history. My great-grandparents immigrated from Japan to Peru in 1908. But that's really all I know about them. I don't know about their struggles or their joys, their memories. I don't know anything else about them. And we believe these memories make us who we are, and it's important for us to preserve that information moving forward in the future. So when Al asks, why is this Web3 not Web2? Well, where are our most precious memories currently stored? They're currently on Google Photos, Dropbox, centralized in these areas that has a single point of failure. How am I going to pass on those most important memories to my future generations, right? My children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren may not pay for my Dropbox account anymore, may not have the username or password anymore. So they're going to lose that family history. That's where the idea stemmed from. And how we're accomplishing this is through MetaBlocks, where on top of a real-world map, we have these virtual plots of land that we call a blocks. And as the owner of that blocks, which is our NFT, you become a memory curator. Now, what is a memory curator? Think of it this way. Think of a museum and how a museum has the museum curator, and how they source artwork from all over the world to create the design and the aesthetic and to present that artwork in their museum. That is their goal. Their mission is to present that artwork in the museum. And so as a memory curator, when you are the memory curator of the Golden Gate Bridge or the Eiffel Tower or these beautiful, like I live in San Francisco and there's Mission Street, beautiful street art, beautiful culture in this area, I can become the memory curator of this area and I can choose which memories are preserved forever on the blockchain for people to come and enjoy. So our vision is really being able to go and experience different cultures in the world, different cities, travel there, of course, go to Golden Gate Bridge and see the beauty of that bridge. But in addition to that, through augmented reality, you'll be able to experience the most important memories of the people that had them there. And that's how we can build a more empathetic world. So that's what we're trying to do. I hope that you'll join our Discord, definitely participate in our airdrop. That's an immediate $100 to $200 right there in NFTs when we launch next month. And why we're so excited to partner with Koii is because Koii is about being able to track and reward that attention. So those memories that do get the most, what we call memory marks, the memories that are most enjoyable or solemn or inspirational or heartwarming, excuse me, I'm just getting over a sickness, or heartwarming, those will be able to then mine those Koii tokens and be able to benefit in that way as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the great overview. I find this fascinating from the standpoint of like any historical events that happened prior to about 60 years ago. We don't really have any records at this point that are real necessarily. They've been copied or transferred in some way, or they're in a museum under some glass and lock and key. So I think this kind of stuff has a real potential. And it's what we set out to do originally with Koii, to try and incentivize creating this open knowledge graph as well. Because not only does attention provide these rewards, but it also is a great way to identify which content has historical relevance over time, because you can see that people actually engaged with it at a particular point in history, as well as, got credit for it and earned some tokens.
Absolutely.
We're waiting for two more folks, but I do want to introduce BJ, who's been a big advisor and mentor to the network over time. BJ, do you want to hop in quickly and say a little bit about what you're working on and kind of how that relates to decentralization in this world?
Absolutely. Well, first off, again, thank you for having me here. And Al, thank you for letting me be part of this journey. Just to give people a sort of a narrative, because that's kind of how we think. And that's why Koii is so important, in that it will retain the building blocks for future generations to create narratives of what we live and what we do. Al and I were talking about Koii, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. And what inspired me to work with Al was the fact that this was someone who I could tell had both a deep passion for truth, and then also the technologist's intellect to actually engineer better truth making and truth keeping mechanisms. So from that, we talked about his pitch, talked about his deck, talked about the entire building of his business structures. But I never could have imagined that in 2 years he would come from, and his entire team, including Kayla, who I've worked with closely and I'm really impressed by, just an absolute phenomenon in her own right, would go from a plucky little startup that could, to a absolutely thriving ecosystem that's about to release game-changing technology in just a couple weeks. So thank you to Al, thank you to the entire Koii team, and thank you to all of you who are becoming part of and you're going to groan at this pun, but the Koii community. So it's very exciting to see what's going forth here. I've been working in crypto for a pretty long time now by crypto standards. Back in 2016, 2017, I was working on a project called Predictive that was incubated out of Berkeley. And the goal there was to use prediction markets to ascertain who you should listen to and who you shouldn't, who is trustworthy in social media, who has a solid track record. Unfortunately, crypto winter scuttled that pretty severely. We were off to the races, going to do a big raise, and then all the money somehow just kind of evaporated into thin air. What was so reassuring to me when I met Al was that there are other people out there with this vision and who are building towards that sort of better future that we all, I think, the core Web3 builders sort of share. And that's what I would like to sort of capstone my little blurb here with, is whether there's a bull or a bear market. I know that on crypto Twitter and amongst friends, and you look at things like Bitcoin Miami and the Michael Saylors of the world, whatever the opinion on individual tokens or individual projects or the market is, we got to always remember that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so that's why I was so excited when Al introduced me to Zeno, and I got to look at his project and contribute a little bit. And he's brought a couple others in the Koii community to my doorstep. And everything that I see happening here we're predicting the future through creating it. So let's keep on doing that here, and can't wait to see everybody earning Koii to retain the building blocks of the truth, so that the truth lasts far beyond 60 years, and Jun's grandchildren will know exactly who he was.
Absolutely.
Hear, hear. It looks like everyone else is having some very slight technical difficulties. We're new to Twitter Spaces. This is the first time we've tried to do one of these as a town hall, so it might be a second. While we are waiting for them, I think we can touch on a couple of these things. Oh no, Kishan is here. Great. Kishan, you're up if you want to say a couple words about blinds. Kishan, your mic is muted. Or Harrison, actually. It looks like both of you are in now. Wow, that was quick. If either of you want to unmute and tell us a little bit about your project, we'd love to hear more.
Maybe, hey there, everybody. Maybe he's getting rugged by Twitter Spaces. It happens a lot.
Alon's already kicking us out now.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody on the West Coast, and I guess almost afternoon on the East Coast. But yeah, I run a project called Liftoff Artists, and it's a platform slash incubator slash launch pad, whatever you want to call it. It's for creatives, and we're trying to grant fund artists, musicians. We want to grant fund film authors, whatever it is, through NFTs. And our long-term goal is to eventually open a physical space for artists to have access to it, and they'll have access through the NFT. And the NFT also gives you the ability to propose for grant funding. So if you basically want to get rid of barriers in grant space for creators, because I'm an actor and filmmaker myself for over 10 years, and so is the core team. We're all working actors or filmmakers, producers, and there's a couple musicians on the core team. And yeah, we just like have experienced applying for a lot of grants, not getting a lot of them, getting some of them, and just like the barriers that exist in the world for creatives. It's always financial, oftentimes stopping people from creating what they want to create. And even the grants that do exist really box creativity, I think, in a lot of the times, because they have a lot of requirements. As a filmmaker, I'm always like applying for grants that are like, oh, like it has to be this type of film, and it has to be this length, and it has to be this style of thing, and it's only open for this person, and this date, and we need you to fill out 100-page application, which takes you 2 weeks to write, and often people buy grant writers and all this stuff. So it's just like a huge amount of work for a very it's a lottery. So we would love to just allow people to submit, because a lot of people are down to put in the work and propose and pitch a project that makes sense. So we would love to get rid of those barriers in a lot of ways and allow people to pitch projects whenever they want and pitch whatever project they want. And if it makes sense, as far as like, oh, I have a short film, I'm able to create it. Here's my portfolio of work, or here's like how I'm going to create this. Here's how I intend to make this. And I need this amount of money to make it. Like, we want to be able to just go, yeah, this is great, present it to the community and let them say, yes, let's do it, and give them access to that money and create it, and not have any investment equity in their project. Just let them, go create what they need to create. And then, of course, like I said, with that long-term goal, we want to be funding a space where we can host events and have a studio, or a space for people to collaborate and work out of, like a collective. But a lot of the collectives we've seen in this is something I've been working on for like 3-4 years. Originally, it was just a physical space, and then NFTs opened up a whole other portion of help that we could, or a whole portion of a new idea that we could help creators. So yeah, like the space that we want to create is something actually useful for emerging artists. We find a lot of the collectives or collaborative spaces like in Los Angeles or New York or any major city don't really offer what they need to offer, which is like the things that creatives don't have access to, which is usually like gear or like the actual physical space to access, such as like a music studio or a taping room, or even maybe a computer with graphic design software, whatever it is. There's always, we want to just remove all those barriers. So that's our goal, and we just launched our website 2 days ago. Yeah, and we're talking to Koii, talking to Koii about how we can use their network for something. We'll see.
What's the new website URL just for everybody listening?
It's called the microwaves.io. So we have a Genesis collection of 222 hand-drawn microwaves from an artist. Her name's Avi. She's an awesome musician as well. And yeah, those Genesis microwaves are going to be our seed fund for building Liftoff. The team is taking $0 from the Genesis because we just want to use the seed fund that we raised from the microwaves to launch our brand and launch the future of what we're trying to achieve.
That's a really excellent vision. It definitely speaks to a lot of what we're trying to go for with content collectives and a lot of these kind of creator enablement tools. We are running a little short on time, so appreciate the insight and stuff there. I want to head it over to Kishan now, who has a decentralized advertising network that he's building in India.
Thanks.
Kishan, are you there now? Looks like Kishan might still be having some technical difficulties. So if anybody from the audience right now wants to hop up and tell us a little bit what they're working on, you can always request to speak. I'm going to take advantage of this very brief pause just to tell you a little bit about the airdrops that are happening. So Jun mentioned he is airdropping some tokens, or some NFTs rather, from Metablocks today. So you can get in on those by joining their Discord. And that link, I think, has been posted in the Koii Discord as well as from our Twitter. There is also an airdrop of the Cryptofish Collection, which is a bunch of very cool pixelated fish that were actually made by a Koii community member, and he's now doing a drop of those NFTs. So those are a bunch of kind of unique 10K collection type things that you can check out as well. So more info about that airdrop on our Twitter. It looks like we do have someone who has requested to speak, so here we go. There you are, sir. Please go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us what you're working on, and tell us how we can help at Koii.
I can't hear you, Ghost.
Oh, we can hear you. You're good to go.
Yeah, great, I can hear you. So thanks for having me. I don't have a crypto project as such, but so I'm a finance guy. I'm a chartered, and what I deal with finance and business, and I'm helping some crypto folks maybe get some more community or their way around tax and legal stuff. In fact, what I'm planning with June as for our first part is a series of Twitter Spaces for my. So I have a community of 20 WhatsApp groups and around 6,000 LinkedIn followers, wherein I want to take them to through the amazing projects of Web3 that you guys are building up. And I'm starting with June as my first episode. So yeah, happy to receive any help or suggestions along the way.
Great. Yeah, thanks for saying hi. Definitely would love to have you involved in the Koii community for starters. And I think a lot of the projects that are being built on Koii are very community centric, so they can definitely use that kind of help. I want to see again if Kishan is ready. If you have your mic working, you're welcome to go ahead now. Also looks like we have Yukai.
Thanks. And while they're speaking, I just want to vouch for Harsh. I have spoken with Harsh several times. He's a great guy, and we will be working together. So he did drop my name, so just want to make sure it's legit, and Harsh and I are working together.
Thanks,
man. Nice. I just wanted to say Metablock sounds really cool, and I'm excited to check out the project as well, by the way. So thank you.
One of my favorite things, seeing all of you together here is that I think a lot of these things have a lot of area to collaborate. The kind of identity tools that Dan is building could be very useful to all of you. But a lot of the content that's being created, Harrison, a lot of the content you guys are making could end up on MetaBlocks as well. That would be a perfect kind of stuff to get in there as memories, especially if you do end up making a studio.
Yeah.
Buy that block, make sure that you have that block and store those memories there.
100%. I was going to say it sounds really interesting for what we're trying to do, and also really interesting for for the creators that hold their NFTs. A lot of them might be interested in doing something with MetaBlocks. So yeah, we'll have to speak side conversation, but it's really cool. This is why I love the NFT space and Web3 and what everyone is building and the things that are possible. And Koii, I think Al is unlocking a lot of that for people as well, which is really cool. And I just appreciate what everyone's trying to do here. It's great.
Al, I'd like to chime in if possible.
Yeah, go for it.
So digital IDs, I mean, right now, obviously the whole crypto Twitter space is reeling from the fact that Twitter is now Elon Musk's private fiefdom. And again, good or bad, I'm not here to debate the politics of it, but it shines a light on how digital identification is a core building block of the future, and building it that building block in such a way that it both retains sort of a humanist first focus, which the digital ID systems of some places in the Far East, might not actually have at the forefront of their engineering architecture. That's going to be both a very noble and a very lucrative mission, and the concept of doing good while getting paid is something that I encourage everybody in this space to look at as sort of the philosophical guidance for building or collaborating or even choosing projects, because the projects you invest in are the ones that end up winning out.
Lost you at the end there, BJ, but I think I follow what you're saying. It's a lot more rewarding to work on something that makes the world a better place and doesn't just make money. I do see that Kishan has now rejoined for the third time, so possibly we have overcome our technical difficulties. Kishan, would you like to try to go?
Yeah, hi Al, and hi everyone. Sorry for the technical issues. And I'm from Vincis, and my name is Kishan, and I'm the founder of Vincis, and we are building Blinds, which is a Web3 marketplace for decentralized advertising. So right now, if you would try to create an ad campaign for any of those big digital billboards in the market, you would find out how complex and difficult the process can be. So by using Blinds, you can now create digital ad campaigns for those billboards without any intermediaries in real time and deploy them from anywhere in the world. So we are on mission to decentralize the advertising industry, and right now we are focused on decentralization of outdoor advertising industry. And we are using Koii SDK in our front end tech stack, and Koii has been really helpful for us and had reduced a lot of our work in the development process. So I'm very thankful for that, and thanks El for this moment, for offering us to speak, and for this moment, thank you. I hope I'm audible, because I'm having
you're great. That was great. Just one thing that I'd like to note on that is I think probably one of the coolest things about what you're working on is the ability to interact with outdoor advertising. And so like an end user can walk up and potentially scan a billboard and get some kind of an NFT drop or some kind of a reward down the line. So really.
Yeah. So what the idea behind actually is to make outdoor advertising ads basically engageable and interactive for both the businesses and the audiences. So for if an audience want to engage or interact with any outdoor ads, they can come on our platform and get incentivized for providing their data and for their attention. And advertisers can at the same time create campaigns which can be interactive and which can engage with their audience. And this is basically going to help in creating a more loyal customer base for the brands and for the audiences, for the loyal audience for the advertisers. So it's a pretty cool thing that we are really excited about.
Definitely gonna be great to see it come together. Well, I think so. We're 3 minutes over now, so we can wrap up here. If anybody has any like kind of open speaking topics they'd like to talk about, anything cool that's going on in the space, we can stay on and chat for a bit. But for those of you that I've asked to come and speak, you're all welcome to go now, and I really appreciate you taking the time to tell us about your projects.
Hey, this is Yukai Chow, Jun's co-founder in MetaBlocks, and I'm just really excited to hear about all the projects, because if you look at MetaBlocks, it's really about two things. It's real life memories and real world places. And the real world places, we're looking to be a beacon to connect a lot of different projects to a physical space in the real world. So we're exploring different things like we're embedding different other NFT pieces in our NFT called blocks. So if people mint the blocks, they'll discover these places, becomes a scavenger hunt. I think it's connected to the outdoor advertisement. Ultimately, we hope for people to go outside, explore more places, upload more memories, and have greater experiences. So I think there's a lot of synergy between all our projects connect together, and just make a more vibrant experience for all our users.
Yeah, I'll chime in. A lot of those memories happen at the movie theater or the theater or at a concert. So that's something to connect in with MetaBlocks 100% by the sounds of it, and make some real life scavenger hunt like you just mentioned or something happen. So that's really cool.
Yeah, we had a reservation launch in a Miami NFT conference, Miami Week. I was speaking at the conference, and there's a lot of people notable in the NFT space who were there. They took a lot of photos together. I was with one of my friends who's the founder of Comic Con, and so that all creates a lot of memories that that should be preserved through history. Who knows? Potentially, it's one of those Steve Jobs meets Steve Wozniak memories, or whatnot, and those are in physical museums, right? Those photos, landmark historical sites. And what we want to do here is we want to create a mechanism where every single location in a city can become a historical landmark without obviously the the cost to build something physical in the real world. But it's remembered. Now, some of them are world changing. Everyone cares about the tech. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, but some might just be, hey, this is a famous chef in the city, right? And people in the city care about it, or someone in the neighborhood. So I think the idea here is that there's always something meaningful that some people care about in each place, and we want to honor that. And also, we'd like to integrate a lot of other digital projects and embed that into that physical location. So going out the world, exploring, uploading more memories also is very rewarding in terms of discovering new NFT art and whatnot.
Yeah, it's the discovery aspect that I found very exciting about this, because you can actually go and see what's happening in a place, sort of like the Snapchat map, but with an actual history behind it. Seems like it has real potential to actually become almost a more realistic history than a lot of the other stuff that exists on the internet, because of the connection to reality, as opposed to potentially just a bunch of words on a website. It's very powerful.
Yeah, and along the way, we're tracking attention, which is why this partnership would be amazing, and understanding, hey, if people actually have great memories, people care about it's tracking attention, then they get rewarded for that. So it's not people just uploading random memories, but things that are. When we have our own game design mechanisms where, again, like June said, if a memory is tagged by people as being inspiring, heartwarming, solemn, or enjoyable, they level up the property. It generates more meta and all that stuff. But I think having Koii in that, in terms of being even more rewarding for having memories that attract attention, I think that just works perfectly together.
Well, one of the very first things that Al and I were talking about in the early days was a phrase, attention is the asset. And operating from that perspective on Koii, and always maintaining the understanding that Web 2 showed that attention is the asset, but the ownership of our attention was centralized and commodified and, quite frankly, exploited. Web 3 and Koii's overarching purpose, I think, is to free attention from the clutches of those that would seek to use ourselves against ourselves and ourselves against each other, and actually build communities where the enriching value of the attention we create is fairly allocated to those who are the creators.
Yeah, if you just look at the YouTube algorithm, right? If you talk to any YouTube influencer, they'll say that's their life. Every day they're trying to guess what the algorithm wants to show. They say, hey, I have 10 million subscribers, but suddenly the algorithm changed and they don't like my content, and now I have only 5,000 views. And so literally this one company is dictating where all the attention goes. And, I think in a good world, it shouldn't be just about one company deciding where all the attention goes.
The other thing that maybe should make a note of for anybody who's just listening in and hasn't quite been following Koii all along, there is the potential here that we can also keep this entire attention map completely open and transparent for anybody to access. And so if you're interested in building something like a new version of YouTube or a new search algorithm or something like that, you can piggyback on all of this data that's being generated, and you can actually go and write your own algorithm to present the content that you think is important, which has the potential to hopefully upset a little bit of that apple cart that's out there.
Pun intended.
Exactly. I think we can probably wrap up here, and we'll let everybody enjoy their afternoon, but please stay tuned for more Twitter Spaces from Koii. We'll most likely have one of these every week, I think, rotating. So every second week will be a town hall, and we'll probably have sort of a focused discussion. I think next week we'll be talking about Elon Musk acquiring Twitter and what kind of options there might be for people. We'll be talking a lot about DAOs and content collectives and other ways that we could be handling the governance of this network. So thank you all for being here, and apologies for making you come and hang out in the feudal state, as BJ described, but we really appreciate your attention.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Al. Thanks, Koii.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Can't wait to see it grow. Take care, guys.
Absolutely. Take care, Al. Good to hear you, BJ.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.